Hi there. I hope you're enjoying these videos and this different way of thinking. Let me start with, how is what I'm talking about any different than everything else you've dealt with in your life? You've had sessions with therapists and coaches and maybe mentors and maybe astrological readings. And here's the difference. To begin with, let me remind you, let me just introduce myself a bit. I've lived in the world, meaning I have a master's in geology. I worked in a large industry. I went back and changed careers, PhD at Psych, worked as a advisor, mentor, therapist, consulting, moved into academics. I've been an academic dean. I've been on boards. I've run boards. I've had a real life. And astrology is something that often was my plan B, that when I had a dry spell between careers, often it would get me to the next career. But it was something that I realized that had a language to it. I don't just do astrology when I work with people, but our first step is to take a deep dive into that chart. So you know what it tells us? It tells us about the unresolved karma from your past. You could think past lives. You could think from your lineage. You could think from your culture. You could think epigenetics. It doesn't matter. We have unresolved karma. Now, that doesn't mean we come here to be punished. Imagine you did everything right in a past life, right? You were a saint. You took care of homeless children. And you were good and kind, but you never had a life. That's unresolved karma. No one's going to punish you, but you need to come here and discover life for yourself. Perhaps you were on the flip side and you actually were somebody who did wrong, things that were wrong. You don't come here again to get beat up. If you stole a horse, people don't steal your car nowadays. You come here to resolve whatever that wound or issue or anger or whatever it was, and to live a different life. Maybe you were making good choices and the world got in the way. You were going to leave Ireland because of the potato famine and come to the United States and send money back to your family. And on the way, the ship sunk. Not your fault. Unresolved karma. Or perhaps, unfortunately, you had a past where you were the victim of evil or the victim of a war. Again, unresolved karma. We coped in a certain way in a past life, and it was a gift. We knew how to do a certain thing. But if that's the only thing we do, it's like having only a hammer in your toolkit and everything is a nail. We come here to develop the opposite side of our personality so that that first gift can be used in a way that is supportive, and we have more tools because we're using the rest of our lives, the rest of our talents and gifts and skills, and we're in the world in a different way. It makes sense. When we do your chart, when we talk about your life, and what you'll find is during that conversation, you'll think, wait, this sounds like my life now. This sounds like a pattern I'm repeating. And often it is. But I can't just give you that information. I have to help you build a framework to do something with it. And that's where Life on the Loose comes in. I have a process and some tools, but I adapt them to you. That's sort of the gift of this world. I don't have just one kind of program that fits everybody. I can tell you that we'll start with symmetry. What is in alignment with what you crave and what is not? We'll subtract what isn't working. And again, I have tools for that. And what's interesting is when we subtract, this is a process of opening and leaving space. It actually creates elegance in art. If you talk to any artist, they will say that what is not there is so important and creates the true artistic element of the art. And in fact, it's seductive. And that's my last step. How do you seduce the life you want to live? How do you fully participate? How do you invest your enthusiasm in what you want instead of what you're trying to leave behind? How do you find those pathways forward? And together, we'll work on that. We'll build some tools. And I have bunches of tools. And in fact, you probably have tools. And now that you know where to apply them and how to use them, they'll make sense. So much about what we learn is about our mind. Think positive. Not bad advice, but thinking positive doesn't change the world. Acting positive is better. Infusing positive options, filling them with your creative essence and with your determination and with enthusiasm. That can change the world. You can change the world. Remember, this this work that I do with people is acknowledging that every single one of us is a thread in this amazing tapestry. Your thread matters. The color of your thread, the texture of your thread, the essence of it. Without it, the tapestry doesn't exist. But if your thread is supposed to be orange and you want it, and somebody told you, no, you have to be, green, tapestry doesn't work. There is so much richness in our own knowingness, our own wisdom. And what I'd like to do is help you find that. So think about that. And I'll tell you more, like how this works and how you work with me on my next video. And until then, stay ignited. Let that flame burn.